Welcome to WP-Tonic, episode 37. Well, we're going to continue on with WordPress theme builders and plugins as we're doing those comparisons and site builders. And I'm just getting back, as you know, Jonathan, so...
Yes, you've been on travels, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've been allowed outside of Reno. You broke free, didn't you, Bill?
Yeah, last Sunday night I got to go to, I had a VP pass to the New Media Expo and the National Association of Broadcasters, and I got to go to my first party for the vendors and presenters last Sunday night down in Vegas, and it's been go. Ended up down in LA for some business, and now I'm back.
Oh, right. I thought you'd never coming back, actually.
I was gone.
He disappeared more days than he said, folks.
Yeah, and I had most of my shows go up and all that, so I have to really work my tail off this afternoon in editing. And one thing I'll say before we go into the show today, if you go over to newmediagold.com, I will have up links to the shows, and we're going to do a big-time Timelines of Success show. I interviewed probably 10 or 12 of the top podcasters in the United States. So I'll have them on my show, and we'll talk about what's happening in the world of new media and how the show. So I'll be about the show. Things have changed a lot in a couple of years, that's for sure.
Yeah, I imagine they have, Bill.
So without ado, though, let's get on to what this is all about, WordPress. So
yes, like we were saying, the month is about, technology, competition, and what WordPress has to offer for people looking for a more visual way of building pages or websites. And we started the month looking at the dreaded competition, and then we had a bit of a chat last week with our guest. We also talked about the hosted solutions and a little bit about what WordPress has to offer, and especially WordPress.com.
Right.
Because Dustin, he actually works for Automatic, and he's involved with WordPress.com.
I did see Dustin at New Media Gold. Not New Media Gold, at the National Broadcasters Association. He was there with WordPress.
Did he say hello? Did he say hello to you, Bill?
Yeah, he did. He didn't make it over to our live. I had my live broadcast off the floor, and he couldn't make it over. But I did see him for a minute. He's pretty busy. They're busy in WordPress.
Nice guy, very informative.
Yep, I think a lot of executives from the National Broadcasters Association aren't really at that level of WordPress, but you get down to the podcasting side, we are.
So we had a bit of a discussion with him about WordPress.com because he actually is involved with that, and he actually looked at some of the hosted solutions and then some of the plugins. So this episode, we're really going back to WordPress, and there's been a number of new plugins and theme-based solutions that have come on the market in the last 2 to 3 months, Bill. So it's a bit like other things we've looked at. There's a lot of choice coming up in this sector. So we're going to start off with one of the more recent entries into this sector, and it's caused some excitement in the WordPress media community, the podcast community, and it's been Beaver Builder. And Beaver Builder looks quite interesting. I looked extensively at their website, their support materials, and I probably will be buying it myself. It's a very visual page building plugin. You can drag and drop. You can edit certain elements. The code that it produces isn't based on shortcodes, and for the benefit of our audience, I'm just going to briefly say what a shortcode is. A shortcode is a mechanism that's built in the core of WordPress that enables you to put a wrapper around a certain HTML or CSS element, and then place that wrapper in your function PHP file, and then utilizing a shortcode, you can place that on anywhere on your sidebar, in the main content area of your page, and that content will miraculously show itself, Bill.
Right, that's a short code.
The problem is when it's overused, and a lot of these commercial themes from various theme shops just use too much shortcodes. And like I say, it's powerful, in the right circumstance, it should be used. It's when it's overused where it becomes a problem. And Beaver Builder doesn't use shortcodes. the actual code it produced seemed pretty good to me. It's had some excellent reviews. The other factor that makes it really good is the actual pricing structure is pretty attractive. They do have different levels. One of the other benefits you get, but which you don't get from the lower price, is that they also produce a library of actual themes that are pre-populated with content, which you can select and then you can start altering in their system. But at the lower level, you don't get the library of themes, but you do get all the other functionality of the plugin, and it starts at $99. But you can use that on as many sites as you like, Bill. It's not site restricted. You can use it on 10 or 100 websites. So
right.
What did you think of Beaver Builder?
This morning, I was catching up on my email today, and I've got a couple of people I follow, and Beaver Builder seems to be all the rage right now. A lot of people talking about it. And I actually opened it up before I looked at our notes today. I opened it up and started looking at Beaver Builder. It's very impressive. It looks like it might be pretty clean with the code too, the backside.
Yeah, if you're really into, visualization, drag and drop, that's still responsive and still produces reasonable code, it might be a solution that's very attractive to people, Bill.
So you could just install WordPress and then put this one plugin in and do quite a bit, it looks like.
Yes, Bill.
And do quite a bit. And then add your forms and your other functionality, other plugins, and really keep a streamlined, efficient website. Now, I do want to ask a couple questions on this. I don't know how much you looked into. You got Agency Pro and Standard. The Pro is $199, and that allows you unlimited licenses.
They all do, Bill.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the Standard.
Yeah, but Standard does. The main difference from that one is you don't get the themes. You don't get these pre-populated themes library, where you can select a theme inside the plugin and then you click and you got a page that has the images, the icons, the text already populated for you.
And then they have an agency too at $399. And it looks like they just add white label to that.
Yeah, you can white label it. That's the main difference on the agency product.
And then I guess there's a couple different themes for developers where you would install or create the page and then take the plugin out, which wouldn't allow your client to actually manipulate it with Beaver Builder.
I'm not sure you would do that, actually, Bill. I think you just leave the plugin in because the whole purpose is to do something rapidly, but then have more functionality for your end client to edit themselves. Bill.
Right. That's the theory. You could go either way. Some people are talking about the theory of, it depends how much you want your client to do. Exactly.
Or what they want to do. And then.
Anyway, I thought Beaver Builder was really unique. It's the first time I'd seen it today, and it came up on your notes at the same time. Very good.
Yeah. And then we got Conductor. And Conductor from Matt, who we interviewed at the beginning of our journey together, Bill. Uh-huh. Him and his team have produced Conductor. And Conductor I have utilised myself, and I've got the developer's license. And it's changed to some degree over the coming months. It's a different animal to Beaver Builder. It's not so much a visual page builder, but it has elements, and it works inside how WordPress works. And it also helps you, the main core coding logic that dominates WordPress is something called the loop. It's a function construct that spits out posts in order. And basically, Conductor gives you many options and a visualize mechanism connected to how you can output the data that comes out of the loop. You can already see that the language that I'm utilizing with this is a bit more developer orientated, but it is a visual editor, and some of the things it does Beaver Builder can't do. So at its core, it's actually more powerful than Beaver Builder, actually, but it's not such a visual editor as Beaver Builder. And I don't actually know if you can run the two at the same time, actually. I don't know. but they are very different animals. Also, Conductor initially didn't come with any themes, but they've changed that recently. It comes with a starter theme that's very bare bones, but it actually enables you to move around elements even more freely, Bill.
Really, really. I know. I really never looked close at Conductor. It was a good interview. I remember he's talking about building the, what was it, $3,000 web page for whatever.
Yeah, I think the example they did was that there was an update of the New Yorker magazine, and the New Yorker magazine is run on WordPress, and it's a full custom design. And what Matt did, I think Matt did it, was that it's on their YouTube channel, is that he actually did a very similar site very quickly using his Conductor plugin.
I remember seeing that, yeah, where he created the same basic look and page.
Yeah, very rapidly, very effectively. And like I say, the New Yorker website was a full, obviously a totally custom design.
Right.
And
then he's updated his website too. It's beautiful. He must be doing well. It looks good.
Oh, I've noticed that he's updated his website recently. Both these plugins, one of the other strengths of both these plugins, and especially the Conductor plugin, is they all come with very good documentation and also support materials on their website. The Conductor plugin's got a very well-documented PDF. When you download the plugin, it's got a very extensive PDF document, and they've got both a lot of video. The video tutorials on Conductor are fantastic. Also, Conductor works very well with the Genesis framework. I thought I would mention that, Bill. I thought you would be keen on that. They also produce they've got a number of micro plugins. You have to buy one of the higher versions of Conductor to get access to these micro plugins. And one of the plugins they provide is that Conductor natively works with Genesis pretty well, but they produce a micro plugin that means it's almost works fantastic with Genesis. But their starting price is around $49.99, but that only works with one website. But it's, you're talking about $50 and you're getting a lot of power and functionality for your $50 bill.
Very good.
Right? So then on to one I haven't really used, but it's also caused quite a stir in the WordPress media community, the Velocity page. I actually, because it's called Velocity page, I actually thought this was probably a theme-based system, but it actually isn't. It's a plugin system, Bill. And it's more like Beaver Builder, really, Bill, because it's more about giving you the ability to have a real visual editor and change stuff around very visually than Conductor, really, Bill. But it is a bit of a different beast because it's a front-end editor. And what I mean to our audience, Beaver Builder, you normally got to be in the back end and you're in the editor in the back end. With Velocity page, you've logged in, but you're at the front of the website and you edit on the front end. Did that make sense, Bill?
Yep, absolutely.
And you select different elements and you click them and you get a little editor pop up. And then you can edit that element, change the font color, change the font, many factors. And it's a pretty slick system, a very powerful system. Like I say, I haven't used it in anger myself. But like I say, I see it as a direct competitor to Beaver Builder rather than Conductor. It's not a cheapest solution. I don't know, this because it's $247, Bill.
a lot of dinero.
Compared to the $99 of Beaver Builder. But, Beaver Builder, to get its full, I would have to use it. You have to go to the $199 when you get these actual templates with Beaver Builder. With Velocity page, you get this functionality and you can choose almost any theme and then put Velocity page, and then you have a true front-end visual editor, Bill. So it's pretty powerful. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. You're going to have to go to the websites, read up the documentation and see, is Velocity page more to your, liking than Beaver Builder. Did that make sense, Bill?
Yep, I understand. I think right now, just looking at both, the Beaver Builder seems pretty simple. In fact, Beaver Builder would be oriented towards the newer WordPress person trying to develop and create their own sites.
Yeah,
quickly.
I think.
But a developer would also use Beaver Builder too in a couple of ways.
I think it appeals to both sections, doesn't it?
Right.
But don't diminish the power of Conductor either, Bill.
No. Conductor is probably more powerful. I'm not sure what the learning curve is.
It's more techy though, Bill. Yep. Right. Yeah, it's a bit more techy. It's more. You have to know a bit more about WordPress to appreciate the power you're getting with Conductor. Really.
Yep. That makes sense.
I think that was a great way of putting it, actually. Thanks, Bill. Page Builder by Site Origin. I have utilised this as well. And it does come bundled with a lot of themes that you get from Theme Forest. They bundle it in with it. Recently, I was working for a client, and they bought a theme from Theme Forest, and Site Origin was bundled in with the theme. And it's very powerful, actually, Bill. It uses widget areas. It has a library of different functionality which you drag. You kind of put a widget area in a specific area, and then you've got a library, and you can drag from the library into the widget area. Right. It's a bit like the framework that you utilize with your Genesis sites, Bill.
Yep.
It's got that kind of functionality. It's very well documented. It is very, very effectively documented on the Site Origin website, and its greatest appeal to most people is it's totally free, Bill.
Yes, that's wild.
How do they support it? Well, the people behind it, they do it by offering higher versions of support and offering customization options. It's not as slick as Beaver Builder or Velocity Page. They're both, especially Beaver Builder, is a much more slicker solution than Site Origin. But you've got to take in that you're getting Site Origin for nothing. So it's not a bad deal, is it?
No, I mean, just install WordPress and go play with it. Install it on a version WordPress install and play with it.
Yeah, I think for the totally newbie, it's going to be a bit harder to use, and a similar thing with Conductor. I think if you're just looking for drag and drop functionality and you want that, you're going to be looking at Beaver Builder, right?
Right. When you think about a newbie, even if you just install WordPress, put Beaver Builder there, I think a newbie still needs to learn the basics.
They're still probably going to have a hard job.
You got to learn the basics. Once you get the basics down, just learning, what a widget is, what a post is, what a page is. You got to learn the basics.
Yeah. And then you got a different animal entirely. You got Make and Make Plus, which Chris Lima raved about and actually used for some of his own websites. And this is a totally different animal. This is an actual theme. All the others that we've talked about, Bill, have been plugins, and this is a theme. And it's a theme that it has some of the functionality of Beaver Builder because they have a library of templates, and you can choose one of those templates and then utilize. So it's a theme that has a number of micro themes included in the master theme. Hopefully I'm not getting too complicated here. And then you choose one of these micro themes, and then you have a visual editor.
Right.
So you can change it quite rapidly.
I was going to say, Jonathan, talk about complicated. If the people just go to WP-Tonic, go to this episode 37 and go to the notes, you have excellent notes. And all the links are right there. You can go right into each of these products and look at them yourself. They all have pretty good tutorials, YouTubes, things like that hooked to them.
Yeah. I disagree with Chris a bit here because
You disagree with Chris Lima?
Yeah, I'm challenging Chris. Come
on,
my
gosh.
Come on the show, Chris.
Challenge off, yeah.
Yeah, challenge.
Jonathan, Chris. I could be the referee.
Yeah, I'll take you on, Chris. You're not going to dominate me, Chris.
Oh, my gosh.
Basically, you might be big, Chris, but you're not going to dominate me. I saw where it comes from because it's totally free. That, you're getting a much more superior visual editor than with the previous plugin solution that was free. Site Origin. it's much more slicker because it's drag and drop, Bill. So it has some of that, it has a lot of that drag and drop functionality that Beaver Builder has, Bill, which people love. But I have a problem with these theme-based solutions. I prefer plug-in solutions myself, but it's arguable. You can argue each way. One of the problems that Chris did point out, though, is that when you make all your authorization, you can't save it as another theme inside the theme. Do you understand? So you make all and then it would be nice if you could select it and then turn that into a custom theme that you made.
Yeah,
you haven't got that ability.
Right, you can't create your own themes off of it. And that's a developer wants to do that, so you don't have to recreate the wheel each time.
Yeah, you got it, Bill.
And we do that with Genesis, with Dynamic, with Skins, similar.
Well, yeah, I'm getting on to that. Then I just want to quickly go through some of the other solutions. There's one called Page Layout. You get this on Code Canyon. It's about $17. I haven't used it. It's got a reasonable write-up. Another one called Live Composer. That's on Code Canyon as well. That's $28. I haven't utilised these at all. Then the next one, which is very well known, is Visual Composer. And that you get that with a lot of commercial themes from Theme Forest. You get this bundled in, and I have utilised it. It's $33. It's very like Site Origin, but I actually think Site Origin is better. It's widget based, and you have a library of things that you can drag into the widget areas. But I don't actually think it's as slick as Site Origin. But I say that I haven't used it for over a year, so obviously the newer versions of Visual Composer might be a lot more slicker now, Bill.
Right.
And then we get on to when I was doing my research, it's called Layouts, and it's a theme, got functionality very like Make and Make Plus, but it's based on the Bootstrap framework. Have you heard of the Bootstrap framework, Bill?
No, I haven't. I have not heard of Bootstrap framework.
Well, Bootstrap outside the WordPress community is a framework for rapidly building websites, and it's extremely popular with web designers and developers. And there are some bare bone frameworks, kind of starter themes that are built on Bootstrap.
HTML based?
Yeah, it was developed by some developers that were working for Twitter, and they were looking for a rapid way of developing the back end and front end of sites connected to rapid development of Twitter applications and functionality. And then they left Twitter, started up their own company, and they've been producing functionality for Bootstrap ever since. So Layout is, you can take any kind of Bootstrap theme and then put it and use this framework with it, and it's really interesting. But it's not the cheapest. It starts at $149 and goes up to $299. So I might go back and have a look at it a bit more. And to finish, I thought we'd finish with your beloved Genesis framework and your Cobalt apps. And I've got into Genesis recently, and you've been a big opponent utilizing Genesis. And Genesis is great, but the only people that provide a kind of visual editor for Genesis until recently was Cobalt Apps, wasn't it?
Right, and Dynamic. Is someone else providing an editor for Genesis now?
Well, I think, like I was saying, I'm not sure if Beaver Builder works with Genesis, but I do know Conductor does.
We could find that out. Just send them an email.
Yeah. But the Cobalt Apps, Bill, so the actual editor, it's not a drag and drop editor, though, is it?
Oh, Cobalt? No, it's definitely no. You have to use their widget, their system, their processes, their schedule. They've got like a schedule and a framework for, I guess.
But it's kind of, you choose options and you can change colors, but it doesn't give you the drag and drop.
You can do a little PHP. No, it's definitely not drag and drop.
So it's definitely not a beaver builder, is it?
No, and it's got skins, so you can create layouts, basically child themes, or themes, which are the skins, and it does some pretty powerful things. But no, it's definitely not. But the code works well. It's known for having good PHP code and HTML working seamlessly and fast.
I should, it's nothing against Cobalt because, like you say, they've got a very good reputation, and I've got the gentleman who's the lead developer and founder of the company. Like I said to you, I have a slight problem because what you're doing is you've got the core WordPress and then you've got the Genesis framework from Studio Press. Then you've got a child theme. But of course, you can take the child theme if you're using Cobalt because they've got their own theme, haven't they?
Right.
You put this theme, this child theme, and then you've got the actual editor, haven't you?
Correct.
But then if you want kind of pre-designed themes, they've got these, what they call skins, haven't they?
Yep. And Eric Ham is the owner of Cobalt, and he's done a lot himself. He's a busy guy. I've got emails from him. Try to get him on the show.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It's just
small company.
It's just slightly diverging itself a little bit. This is just my personal opinion. I'm happy with Genesis and dealing with the themes that Genesis and third-party providers. But I think you're just going a little bit too far with the customization journey here a little bit. But I might be totally wrong. It's just my personal bias. But you're totally happy with it, aren't you, Bill?
Well, I got a different theory. We're developing products for, politicians, WordPress people, and that's really our clientele. And we don't need extraordinarily crazy, fancy WordPress. And WordPress is evolving. WordPress is an amazing platform. That's why I'm a little commercial here. I would focus, if I was learning, and which I have, if you're going to go learn websites or study websites or use websites, I strongly suggest that you go with WordPress because I think in the long run, WordPress will always be there, at least now, because it's an open source basic code that everyone is jumping on the bandwagon with.
Well, yeah, I think you're totally right, Bill, because it's open source. So you're not dealing with an enclosed system. I've got nothing against Squarespace, Wix, Weebly. Hopefully I was pronouncing that correctly.
And that's what this month's all been about.
We looked at those because they're out there and a lot of people talk about them. But a lot of people, and WordPress.com is changing rapidly as well.
Right.
But people do find not having a more control over layout to be one of the things they criticise WordPress.org. But I think we've looked at a number of solutions in this show, Bill, that gives you that ability if you really want it.
Right. Hey, Jonathan, we're gonna have to pull it all together here because we're going up close to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just going to end with my recommendations and some. So we've looked at a number of solutions, Bill. So what would be my recommendations? Well, if cost is a major factor, you can't beat Site Origin because it's free, Bill. It has got its limitations and you might be frustrated by those limitations because it's not a pure visual editor. You have a library of functionality and you drag that into widget areas, but it's free. It's well documented. If you're looking for pure value for money, but you're looking for a real visual editor where you can basically click on an area and manipulate it without having to look at any code, I think at the present moment Beaver Builder is the choice to go with, Bill.
Right.
If you're looking for power and you're more of a power user and you're looking for a rapid framework to manipulate the layout, but you want it very integrated with the core of WordPress, you would look at Conductor, Bill. So they're the three. I think they're the three choices and the three scenarios that you've got to keep in your mind when you're looking at all these tools.
I think you're right. And I tell you what, if you're just starting, Beaver Builder might not be a bad way to go. Or if you're working with a developer, have them work with Beaver Builder, hand it off to you, get you going in WordPress.
Exactly, Bill. I think you're spot on there.
It's not a bad. I mean, it's a solution that I might look at if I wasn't so hooked into Genesis right now.
So probably not today, but on Monday I will have the full notes on the website.
Okay.
We'll probably have the website, but short.
The notes are great. Notes are good. And we'll have the show up today, Sunday afternoon.
We'll have the show, but I'll get it all on there.
The notes are very good, Jonathan.
Yeah. Hopefully, I think we've done a good job of looking at a rather complicated set of choices, haven't we? So no, I think we've managed to give some decent advice, haven't we, Bill?
Also, I want to tell a couple comments. Before the show, we were talking about a show that I was trying to remember, a show that we did back in September 2014, which did okay on.
It was our most popular show.
It was the most popular show on YouTube for sure. And actually, it's unusual because YouTube was 3 or 4 to 1 to our podcast. But it was 2014. It was September 19th, 2014. And what are some of the best WordPress page builder plugins for 2014? I remember that as I've learned a lot since then.
Well, we just have to name it the same. Just call it 2015.
Thank you for listening in to WP-Tonic. For show notes, go over to Jonathan's site at WP-Tonic.com. You can also head on over to newmediagold.com for short summaries and other podcasts. Thank you for listening in this week. Remember to tune in next week, same time, same place.